techies, welcome to the channel. So in this video we are going to have a look on what is React Native design patterns. So before getting into the React Native design patterns, right, first we try to understand what is design pattern means, right? So a design pattern is nothing but it's just a concept which will help us to solve most of the common problems in the software design. So irrespective of the language, the design pattern is used across all the languages to resolve a lot of problems in a software development. So here I have listed some of the design patterns which we are using in a React and React Native applications. So the first one is container component pattern and high order component pattern, render props pattern, compound component patterns, context API, and also like utilizing the hooks in a React Native. So first we get into the container component pattern, right? So when we are speaking about the container component pattern, we should speak about the presentation component pattern as well. So because there won't be much difference between these two. So presentation component pattern is taking care of like how the data is getting rendered in the UI, and the container component pattern speaks about like what data is shown to the user. That means like what data need to pass to the presentation component. So the container component is responsible for state and the data of the applications. So we can call like a presentation component as a stateless pure functions, and container components are called as a stateful pure functions. Right? Example. So let's say like there is some data in our database. So the container component pattern is going to take care of calling an API and fetching the data, and the presentation component pattern is going to take care of how the data is getting represented to the user. So that's what we call like container component pattern, and mostly we are using in React and React Native applications. The second one is high order component pattern. So the high order component pattern is nothing but it's just a block of code which we are going to reuse the entire application, right? So high order component itself, it's a component which is going to take another component as an argument, and it will apply some of the logics which were written inside it, and it will return the component with an extra logics on it. So that's what we call it as high order component. So the best use case for this one is like a button. Take a button which we are going to use it in across the application with some changes in the styling, you know, like some of the styling and some of the colors of the button. So normally what we'll do, we'll pass that button component into a high order component. Let's say here it's a styling, right? Styling is an high order component here. So in the styling we'll apply some more additional styling to it, and it will return a enhanced button to the UI, right? It has some pros and cons as well. So as you know, like reusability means like we can use the same logic or keep a logic in one place, and we can able to reuse across the application, and also it will help us to avoid some of the duplication of the code, right? So even though there are pros, we have some cons as well, like due to sometimes, right, due to props naming issues, like it may cause some kind of a naming collision. So naming collision is nothing but, let's say like we have a high order component as well as a component, right? So when we are passing the component to a high order component, if both the prop names are same, so that time these kind of naming collisions will happen. So normally to avoid this naming collisions, normally what we will do, we'll use a proper prop names when we are defining the high order component. That means like we need to be more conscious when you are designing the high order component, or else so we need to merge the component props as well when we are defining the high order component props. That's where we can able to avoid these kind of naming collisions. So in my next video I'll try to cover the rest of the 4 components patterns. In the meantime, if you have any questions, please feel free to post it in the comment section, and also I have a same article which is available in the Medium. Please go and have a look into it. Thank you guys.